Hi there, welcome back to my shop. And if you haven't been here before, welcome. Now, today's project is going to be a little different from what I usually do. I usually do wood turning. But I was contacted by a company named VEVOR and asked if I would review one of their products. And I checked out their website. They have a lot of products. It's amazing. Take a look if you're interested. And the first thing they wanted to send me was a welder. But I told them I know nothing about welding. I have never welded and I really am not interested in trying it. So they asked me to pick something else from their catalog. And I picked this, a laser engraver. This one will do an engraving on a piece up to 12 inches by 8 inches. And as you can probably tell, this is a big machine. And much like the welding, I know nothing about laser engraving. So everything I do is going to be learning as I go along. And maybe sometime in the future someone will watch this video because they don't know what to do. And believe me, we're in that boat together. Now I did do a search, a Google search to find someone else who has built this, and I really couldn't find anything. So I guess we can learn together if you're interested in this. Now, there are a few accessories, if you will, that came along with this. It has a smoke outlet on it. So as it's burning, there's a fan that will take the smoke away. And there is this hose you attach to it. And it expands so you can take it out further. There's a USB stick here, which may have some software on it. I don't know, I haven't got that far yet. There's a key, and I got a mosquito in here. There's a key so you can turn it on, fits right in there. There's, of course, the power cord. There's, I'm not really sure what's in this box. It's maybe some kind of a lubricant. It's written in Chinese, so I don't know what that is. There is some kind of a tape here. Don't know what that is either. There's a CD, which I assume has software on it. A cable, a USB cable to connect this to your computer. And there's a water pump. There are two hoses coming off the back here. One of them is the water inlet, and you put this pump in a bucket of water, and then the machine will draw that water up into it, and then there's another hose for a water outlet, so it'll go back into that bucket. It's a CO2 laser, so that's how it cools it. Everything I do from here on is going to be a learning process, and I will include you in that. So I hope you'll stick around. This could be interesting. Okay, I got it on there. I'm not sure if the people who designed the machine talked to the people who supply the pump, but that was a little work. Now I'm going to have to see if this is going to actually send the water up. All right, it is circulating the water, so that should cool the machine. To keep that water cold, I have filled this milk jug almost full and frozen it. Now the problem, of course, is that it is going to want to float. So I'm going to put this board across there. And if I can get it to balance, I'll put this bottle of shot in there. And that should keep it in there. So now when I plug in that aquarium pump, it's going to circulate the very cold water. Now I have the power plug into the machine. I have the USB interface plugged in that goes to the computer. And I have the hose for the smoke outlet on the machine, although I need to pull it out and I will need to find some kind of extension hose to get it out the door. I don't want it spewing smoke inside my shop. And then it occurred to me that I have 4-inch dust collector hose which will fit on there perfectly, and I have a piece of it long enough to go right out through the back door. So I will not have to mess with that other hose, although I'm sure someone else may find that very handy. All right, let's take a look at the back of the machine. I already pointed out that the electrical plug goes in here. I don't think I mentioned the ground wire, and the ground wire really is important on this machine. So I have run a ground wire from here to a spot that I know is ground to earth. The hoses bringing the water in and back out I have mentioned. And now let's take a look inside under this lid. And this is the actual laser tube where the laser beam is created. So the water comes in to this end of the tube, flows through it, and comes back out on this side. And that's what tries to keep it cool. I have not yet put actual ice water through this, but it's probably a good idea, and I will look at doing that. Now when the laser is produced, it comes out this end and hits this mirror. And this mirror, along with 2 others, are real critical. They have to be exactly the right angle, and it passes through that hole into the machine. I'll cover that in just a moment. Now looking at the inside of the machine, this is the second mirror. So the beam that was coming from the laser tube is directed onto this mirror, and then from there it's directed into a hole in the side of this laser head. And right on the top is another mirror that is at an angle such that it will direct the beam down onto whatever you're engraving. And I'll have more to say about that at the end of the video. Now taking a look over on this side, we have a couple of displays and other controls. This one tells the temperature of the laser tube. At the moment it says it's 21.0 degrees. And that can get real hot real fast if you're not putting that water through. There's an emergency stop here so that if something goes wrong, you can push that down and it will shut everything off. This is the key, of course, that turns everything on. 2 switches down here. One is to turn on that light on the inside, and this is the power switch for the laser. If this is not turned on, the laser will not appear. Everything will run just fine, except that you won't have a laser beam. Now this display shows the percentage of the laser power. If I turn this on, I hope you can still hear me. But right now it's set at 20 degrees. And I can raise that by, 20%. I can raise that by 10% or lower it by 10%. I can use this set of switches to go up by 1% and this one by 0.1%. Alright, now this is the laser test switch. If I had something in there right now, I could do a test with this. Let me just put a piece of hardboard in there, turn on the laser, and I hope this is going to show up. Now that's only in one spot. So of course it did move and it made quite an impression in there. And if this was moving, then of course it would be doing some engraving. I want to do some engraving on different materials and just see what it will work on. And one thing I neglected to mention was the laser switch right here. It is at 32.3% right now, but if I hit that, it turns it off completely. And I cannot raise or lower that percentage. Now, in case you've been wondering, this orange colored glass is not just because it's a pretty color. It's actually a safety glass. If you use this laser, or any laser for that matter, without proper protection, you can burn your eyes right out. So with that glass there, you can hit this test switch and it won't ruin your eyes. Now, if you want to do the same thing with this lid open, there's a safety switch right here. And if the lid is not closed, the laser will not fire. This video is not a review of the software that came with this engraver. It is a review of the engraver itself. So I have chosen to use a different software that I am a bit familiar with already and don't have to learn the included software. So let's take a quick look at the software that I am using. The drawing software I use is called Inkscape, and you can see it here. This is just a drawing I made that I want to engrave with this laser engraver. The engraving software I'm going to use is called K40 Whisperer. Now let's go over and take a look at that. All right, we'll take a real quick look at this software. I'm going to open the design file I want to use. And now that it's open, I'm going to zoom to the design size. I'm going to home the engraver, and I'm going to start the raster engrave. And let's see how that works. All right, let's turn that noisemaker off. That came out very nicely. You can feel the grooves in there. I was running that at 100 millimeters per second and 20% of the power. I wanted to see what it would look like if I burned something on leather. So I used the same logo I use for my logo coin and burned it onto my belt. It looked really good until I realized I had burned it upside down. I guess I'll be looking for a new belt. All right, at 1/32 of an inch thick, It's definitely cutting right through. No problem at all. Well, it does a real nice job on Purple Heart. I'm very happy with that. Alright, that one was at 40%. This one was at 20%. This is nicer, but also leaves some charring on there. I'm just wondering what a quick swipe with some sandpaper might do. Alright, this is 400 grit. That's not looking too bad at all. You can see that I have built a bit of a ramp. The blocks on the left side are lower than the block on the right side. This is so I can see at what point below the laser head there is better engraving. So both lines are burned, and actually you can see if you turn this at the right raking angle, they both stop totally faded out right at this spot. So the thing is, where is the best burning? This is way too charcoal. This is absolutely nothing. And just from examining it, I believe this right here is the best spot. So I have to measure from the bottom of the laser head to this point after I put it back in the same spot it was in. So I'm going to measure that and then I'll be back. The piece of white oak that I am engraving is sitting on a small scissor jack that I can use to raise and lower the piece of wood I want to engrave depending on its thickness, so that I can always maintain 2 inches below the laser head. Alright, that is on white oak, and that looks real good. There are just a few places where it seems to be a little bit charred, but, well, not really, just colored. I'm just going to see if a little sanding might take care of that. And it does. That looks real good. I'm happy with that. On a piece of 1/8 inch thick glass, I think that's looking pretty good. Well, if you're still with me, thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this. Now I want to thank VEVOR, or VEVOR, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, for sending this engraving machine to me to try out and do a review for them. Now, I want you to know they are not paying me to do this. They don't support my channel. I'm just doing this review, and they have sent this machine to me. So, a couple of things about this. Now, I did not use the software, as you would have noticed, and I have labeled it so that sometime in the future I may want to take the time to figure out how to use it. To be honest, I probably won't. I'm quite happy with the software that I did use. Alright, now, I had said at the beginning that I did not know what this dimming tape was for, and I still don't know. I did a little bit of research trying to find out. I couldn't find anything. I could simply find that it's available to purchase. So, I don't know what that's for. If you know, let me know. I always appreciate learning something. Another thing, this was called dehydration in the English instructions, and with the Chinese on it, didn't really mean anything to me. But I happened to notice on the Chinese instructions that they have translated it into English, and on there they call this glue.
So I put some between these two pieces of cardstock, clamped it together overnight, and yeah, it's glue. It's stuck together real good. The purpose for the engraving machine still baffles me. I don't know what it's for. All right, now, something about the alignment of the mirrors that I was explaining. They were out of alignment, and I was having a hard time figuring out why I could get a line to burn starting at one end, but by the time it got down about 6 inches, it faded away to nothing. It turns out that it was misaligned to the point where it got to a certain distance and the laser was not hitting the hole anymore. So that definitely threw things off. I didn't find out what was wrong until I put a piece of masking tape around that head to find out where the laser was actually burning. And as I got to a certain point, then it was going outside. I couldn't tell before that because it was stainless steel and the laser wasn't making any mark on it. So, okay, I hope that explains that. Another thing, I found that at a certain point, the burning was not going very well. It was starting to get dim and not want to burn at all. And it turned out that it was because the laser mirrors were getting dirty. Now I've taken a photo of one of the mirrors and okay, it looks a little weird, and that's because I was taking a photo of a mirror and it was laying on a stand and the reflection was a stippled ceiling. So that's why it has that weird look. And in the center, that part that does not reflect, of course, is where it was dirty. All I had to do was clean those mirrors off and it worked like a charm. So I'm real happy with that. I guess that's all I got to say about it. Again, thank you to VEVOR for sending it to me. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, I hope you'll come back for my next videos. Not too many are going to be reviews, but I do enjoy doing them occasionally. So if you did like it, please click the like button. Let me know I'm doing something right. Comment on it if you've got something you want to say. And I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't done that before. Please click the subscription button and click the bell for the notification when I put out a new video. So until next time, have a great day in your shop and be safe. Bye-bye now.